What is meta? Meta is the most effective tactic available. It's not a subjective way to measure a gun's viability, else Chicom will be meta.
I feel like Chicom is meta.
Meta is mainly objective and stats based, while a gun that is part of meta can be tracked down to their stats in an objective manner, like I did when I said CBR4 was meta and compared it with Type 25, the #1 best gun back then. As such, a lot of hyped up guns like UL736 or PP19 Bison don't make the meta list as they aren't statistically viable. So here I present to you the true top 10 best guns to use this season, keeping stats and practical viability in mind. At 10 we have CBR4. The gun is still usable, but it dropped hard from being #1 to barely making the top 10 this season. I have an in-depth video if you want to watch, but CBR4 got a bunch of nerfs from ADS speed, sprint to fire, mobility, potential time to kill, and so on. The gun is still usable, but it functions more like an assault rifle now, playing mid to longer ranges, rather than being a versatile gun it was the previous season, where we could dominate close range to longer ranges simultaneously. This is the best Gunsmith right now. At 9 we have RPD. I know some people will mention UL736 just because it has a 3-shot potential right now, cause UL got overhyped by some bigger content creators, but when it comes to LMG meta, PKM, RPD and Holger are the top 3 in no order. PKM has a 3-shot potential as well, but it isn't overhyped as the UL. I guess bigger content creators forgot to promote that gun. And between Holger and RPD, RPD is better considering the overall utility and stats. It has infinite ammo, just spray and spray, no need to worry about reloading, has a huge 4-shot range with consistent time to kill, and high bullet penetration with good ADS bullet spread to play at range, and so on. Holger has better mobility than RPD, but for playing LMG playstyle, that is playing passive, RPD does better now. Why it gets a mention. Use this build for it. And now is a good time to leave a like and a comment to help support the video. At 8 we have QQ9. I know some people will put it higher, but QQ9 has one major drawback. People consider QQ9 to be a 4-shot weapon having around 220 milliseconds time to kill, but 4-shot is just potential. QQ9 has consistent 5-shot kill otherwise with around 290 milliseconds time to kill. And for a 4-shot kill we need to hit 4 out of 4 shots to upper body. That is 100% of the shots to upper body, which wasn't consistent in past and not consistent now either. And with around 290 milliseconds time to kill, we are better off using some other alternatives like AS Val, which is also an aggressive weapon and has faster time to kill, which is more consistent in comparison. More on QQ9 will be covered in my in-depth analysis. Subscribe with the bell icon to get notified. But QQ9 is good. It has always been a good gun to use. It wasn't bad, but it isn't the best SMG right now. For Gunsmith, use this. At 7 we have AK117. Nice. The buff to 117 was pretty amazing, which made this weapon instantly come into top 10 due to having faster fire rate with consistent time to kill in the 4-shot and 5-shot kill range, and the effective range is also good and we can range boost it further. If you want a consistent weapon which is easy to use as well, AK117 is top tier. For Gunsmith, use this. At 6 we have M13. M13 and 117 have similar utility, that is a versatile weapon which we can use for playing close ranges to longer ranges. M13 has faster fire rate but slower reloads and also bullet speed, and 117 and M13 are pretty close to each other, so you can choose to use either, and you can use this Gunsmith for it and this for more range. And for best Gunsmith builds, you can join a Discord server. Starting with top 5 we have MAC-10. Yes, MAC-10 still maintains a position as a meta SMG, and MAC-10 got the sudden bad name because people considered the fire rate to have been nerfed because the in-game stats changed, which it did not. I covered MAC-10 recently. I mentioned that fire rate did not get changed. The number change in the data panel is likely a bug, and you can watch my MAC-10 analysis here. But MAC-10 has good hip fire, best of mobility SMGs have to offer, fast fire rate which makes missing shots less punishing, and time to kill is consistent at around 250 milliseconds in close range, and it goes till 300 milliseconds at mid range, which is still fast, and we get these time to kill hitting all leg shots. Gunsmith build is still the same. Top 4 is KSP-45. Burst weapons haven't been meta in recent seasons, but KSP comes as a dark horse. It has 1 burst potential hitting all leg shots. The delay between consecutive bursts is very low, that with the fast ADS movement, as long as we have decent enough aim, we can win our gunfights. Hip fast spread is also pretty good, and for recall, there is no recall. This is Pharaoh Recall, which was the previous best burst gun, and this is the KSP-45. For Gunsmith, use this. At 3 we have Kilo 141, still the best assault rifle to use from mid to long ranges, and use this build. I don't need to say much about the SKS and SVD. And finally, Peacekeeper is the best overall weapon to use this season. CBR4 losing its number 1 spot left a big gap which could only be filled by Peacekeeper, as it is the closest to CBR4 in stats and utility. Kilo, M13 etc. weapons do not come close, and Peacekeeper in previous season was only ranked lower as it did not have the utility as long as CBR4 was number 1. With CBR4 being gone, no one could take the crown away from Peacekeeper, and use this build for it. Some consider KST-45 to be number 1, but a full auto gun is going to be more consistent to use compared to a burst weapon. The list could only fit 10 guns, but there are more. This season is what I call the open meta season, where meta is just for namesake. Most guns have the capability of outgunning meta guns, as the difference between meta and off meta isn't as huge as in previous seasons. As for some potential meta mentions, we have PW, which can replace the CBR4 for that utility, and some people consider GKS top 10, but PW is simply better. ASVAL, which can be used for playing aggressive and an alternative to QQ9. PPSH, which is crazy good but not talked of much, as most of the community still cannot control the recoil, even though the recoil got buffed so much in the previous couple seasons, and so on. I will cover more in my true tier list video, which should be coming out soon. Until next time, bye.